No single one set of facts or figures can truly give you a sense of the size and magnitude of this thing. I mean, for example, we've just learned that there's at least 15 million American credit cards that have now enrolled in hardship programs. We know that 3.6 million American homeowners had the default on their April mortgage payments. All of this, as we're seeing as many as 1 in 5 Americans applying for the dole. An economy this size. And the chairman of the Federal Reserve says we may be heading towards 1 in 4 people unemployed. And as you say, gig employees don't even count in that number. They're an additional 2.2 million. So, and 2 out of 3 of these unemployed workers believe that their jobs will be there when this virus is over. And given that we all suspect there's going to be deep economic scarring, there may be no jobs to come back to. And if we have a quick look at some Department of Labor statistics, in the state of Georgia, 39% of all workers are unemployed or filed for unemployment. In Kentucky, it's 38%. In Hawaii, it's 35%. In Washington State, it's 31%. And in Michigan, the home of of America's motor industry, it's 29%. And obviously, there's politics involved throughout this. Right now, as we speak, the president himself is in Michigan at the Ford Motor Plant where they're making ventilators on an inspection tour where he's not wearing a mask. But obviously, it's very important. In a state where there's 29% unemployment, and it's one of the 3 key swing states that put the president in the White House, he won this state by 0.23%.
Right, okay. Well, that is a marginal seat, if ever we've seen one. No wonder he wants to get the economy going again with those kinds of unemployment numbers. Frightening, actually. And, Michael, with all that going on, the pressure to reopen American churches seems particularly intense.
That's very right. Obviously, here in America, religious freedom is enshrined in the Constitution under the First Amendment. And we all know the Americans don't muck about in the expressions of their religious freedoms. In fact, a recent Pew poll or survey found that at least 31% of Americans attend religious services once a week. Now, what we've seen is all religious services have been frozen, obviously.
The irony of that is that it froze when Michael said frozen. Have we got him back again?
Are we there?
Yeah, carry on. We just lost you there. Right, you froze right when you said frozen.
So, New York. Yeah, I know, hilarious, right? It's the irony, as you say. So in New York State, you can have congregations of up to 10 people, which is very important for the people of the Jewish faith, because you need at least 10 worshippers to be able to hold a service. Meanwhile, here in California, the restrictions are still pretty tight. So 1,200 pastors have joined together to vow to defy the governor's lockdown order.
Now, meanwhile, we know that for every conservative politician, religious freedom is canon. But we now see that the President of the United States is taking a deeply religious issue and making it very political. Listen to what he said just a couple of hours ago.
One of the other things I want to do is get the churches open. The churches are not being treated with respect by a lot of the Democrat governors. I want to get our churches open, and we're going to take a very strong position on that very soon.
Now, the darker irony is that churches, mosques, and synagogues have not been given a gold standard of advice of how to resume services. The Centre for Disease Control so far has issued protocols or guidelines for everything from mass transit to restaurants to schools to childcare to youth sports and colleges, but they've not issued a guidance on places of worship. According to reports today, that's because the White House does not like how restrictive the CDC's guidelines are, all of which is designed to prevent the sort of thing that happened in Arkansas in the first week of March, where with one congregation
22 attendees, 34 were infected with the coronavirus and 3 later died.